Welcome to my channel, artists. Today we'll be drawing perspective buildings. Step number 1, draw a horizon line. So you're going to take a ruler and draw a line across your paper to add that line where the ground hits the sky. Step number 2, draw a building. This has many steps involved. To draw the building, I'm going to make the corner of my building with a straight line, close to the top and close to the bottom of my paper, but leaving a little bit of space. And then I'm going to connect the top of the corner to a vanishing point and the bottom of the corner to that same vanishing point. You'll want to do that on both sides of your building so it has that diamond shape. After you have connected to the vanishing point, the next step is to draw the corner of the building. Make sure that you are making a straight and not a crooked line for the corner of each building. They do not have to be even on either side of the corner. Step number 3, add details. Some details that you might consider adding would be bricks that you're going to see me do first, sidewalk, an extra building, any of those kinds of things. To draw bricks, just like I did, you're going to want to put a dot on the corner of the building and connect that dot to the vanishing point. Make sure you're not going the same slant all the way up, that you twist the ruler so it's always connected to the vanishing point. Of course, that line, you don't have to draw it through the sky like you can see I've done, where I start at the vanishing point and stop at the corner of the building. Do that for all of your bricks. Before going any further, you can see that I'm going to spend a little time erasing. Now that I have my building and have drawn those bricks lines on there, I want to erase any lines that I know will not be staying. The line that goes behind my building has to leave, and that imaginary line from the vanishing point after it's past that building also gets to be erased. The next step that I'm going to draw is my sidewalk. So when I draw the sidewalk, I start at the vanishing point and I'm going to draw just from the vanishing point somewhere that it'll connect below the edge of my paper, so I don't have to draw a dot for the corner. If your building is smaller, you may draw a dot for the corner. And now I'm ready for my bricks. To make my bricks, I'm just going to draw horizontal lines. I am making them alternating, so you'll notice I draw on the top and then skip a row, draw a line, skip a row, draw a line. I'm going to do that for all of my bricks as I go through. So I'm going to start on the top line and do all of the top line, skip a line and so forth through that, and then I will go back and make the bricks on the lines that I skipped. You could leave those lines. Perhaps you have a different kind of siding there, or you could turn it into windows, or you'll see that I'm just making it bricks. Because I want to draw street art on the building, it needs to be a brick building and not a window building, so I am putting bricks through mine. But if you're just drawing a perspective building, you could do it any way you'd like. Now that I am finished with the bricks, I'm going to work on the sidewalk. The sidewalk lines are a little bit more tricky because now that I have the line for the sidewalk, I want those cracks in the sidewalk, but they don't actually go to the vanishing point you'd think. As you can see here, I have on the right-hand side, my ruler is connected to the vanishing point, and on the left side, those are the lines for the sidewalk that I'm drawing because they are going to be perpendicular to the edge of the sidewalk. Again, these are a little bit tricky, so if that is a little confusing to you, you might think about skipping it or making it maybe like a paved road instead that wouldn't have any of those cracks that go up to the opposite vanishing point, but you do want to take your ruler and draw it to the opposite vanishing point instead of drawing it to the vanishing point where you were working to begin with. Now you'll see I'm ready for the other corner. I'm connected to my left vanishing point, and on the right-hand side, I am doing the sidewalk. I spend a few moments here fixing the sidewalk. When I finished on the right-hand side, I didn't like the left-hand side. I wanted them to connect a little, so I go back and I fix it. It's whatever looks the best to you. You do want to make sure that if you're drawing sideways lines on the sidewalk that they do go to the opposite vanishing point, but the design of that is up to you as the artist. Step number 4, draw letters. The hardest part about drawing street art is drawing graffiti letters. So I'm going to start really careful with just the line. I'm not trying to draw as a block letter. I'm just drawing the letters. Notice how the guide I am using connects to the brick. I start at the top of the same and end at the bottom. This does make the lines of my letters they seem to kind of like grow towards the center and shrink towards the corners. That is what will make it look realistic. That is what will make it look like it is from a photograph, that realistic perspective drawing. You can see here that I have already started with the block letters. I'm just kind of tracing around the letters to draw it. When I do the block letters, I'm making mine a little bubbly. You can make them a different style, but I do want to go all the way around that stick letter and then around the inside area as well. Think of it like you're drawing maybe a wall around or a blockade all the way around to completely cover your letters. After erasing the details that are inside of my letters, I went ahead and took a Sharpie marker. This was a fine or ultra fine point or extra fine point Sharpie marker and traced my letters. It might be a good idea for you to actually trace all the parts. We are going to add values, but sometimes this type of drawing kind of pops a little bit if you add a little bit of Sharpie to it. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time, like I said, tracing all of my letters, tracing my bricks, tracing my sidewalk. You don't need to use a ruler for this as long as you're mostly straight. Since you know the line was perfectly straight with your ruler, you don't have to take a Sharpie with a ruler for this step. One important reason for that is also that sometimes Sharpie will actually get on the ruler if you use the Sharpie on the ruler, and then you get Sharpie on your hands and on other things as well. So it's actually better for your artwork if you just try your best to draw your straight line. Before I finished tracing with Sharpie, I got a little distracted and thought it might be fun to add some drips to my letters, almost like they're spray painted, so like that drip will come down. You can see on the M, I started shading it a little bit, but I went ahead and took you can take a black color pencil for this, a colored color pencil for it, or even just your pencil if you want, and draw some drippy lines. This is an optional step, but it might make it look a little bit more like it's graffiti style letters. And then I'm going to go ahead and take that Sharpie and finish tracing all of my lines like we talked about before. Step number 6, add dark values. Now that I have finished tracing my details with Sharpie, I'm ready to add some dark values. For the drips, I wanted to try to make them mostly dark, and then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of color them in as mostly dark as I can, kind of feathering the edges a little bit, but it can be a little sloppy for this. Not super sloppy, but a little sloppy because this is supposed to be a drip, so there's going to be an element of it that feels a little drippy. I am going to go ahead and skip forward here to being finished with my letters, and I'm going to add values with a colored pencil. For my letters, I thought it would look nice if they were all the same color. You might think of a pattern, or you might want to put your letters in 2 colors, but I wouldn't do like every letter a different color. Kind of focus on one color for it so it has this like uniform feel. If you want to add extra color, so instead of white to blue kind of faded, you could do like yellow to green. I would recommend colors that are going to look nicer next to each other, like those analogous colors that we spoke about when we made our last project. As you'll notice, I am putting a darker color at the bottom and a lighter color at the top, a lighter value, at the top. Often street art has blending happen from one color to another. Because we're doing value, light to dark was an easy way. It's also less work because I don't have to do and blend 2 colors. You're going to want to color as dark as you can at the bottom, and then kind of feather or blend it softly. The hard part about colored pencil is that you can't use your finger to smudge. You're going to have to actually practice dark to light. Blending dark to light values can be very difficult. I would recommend turning your paper over or on our worksheet, blending it trying as smoothly as you can. It's all about that very, very fine amount of pressure. If you're pressing hard, it's going to be dark. If you're pressing soft, it's going to be lighter. And seeing if you can make a difference, like go from hard to light in the same strokes. If you are in my classroom, I will also show you my curly Q method, kind of a cheating hack for blending. You might be able to see it as I color. My curly Qs are just that. I make like little curly swirls that kind of blend it, sometimes soft from dark to light, but you'll want to go through and kind of blend everywhere that you can. So you can see me right there. I'm going dark, 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 and then I'm going to take some areas that aren't as perfect, and you can see I'm actually swirling right there, kind of getting it, trying to go from dark to light. I hope you have enjoyed learning how to value shade and draw buildings in perspective with us today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to keep up to date on all the fun and fantastic things that we are doing in the art classroom. What will you create?